Welcome to Boxing Predictions. In this video, I will be giving you my Daniel Dubois versus Nathan Gorman preview and my Daniel Dubois Nathan Gorman prediction. And before we get started, please jump down to the comment section below and type in the name of who you think will be victorious on the night. Either type Daniel Dubois or type Nathan Gorman. Then at the end of the video, jump down to your comment and reply to it with whether you agree with my prediction. And don't forget, if you are new to this channel, why not hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you're notified as and when new videos drop on this channel. And if you like this video in question, why not give it a thumbs up? I really do appreciate all of those thumbs up, all of those comments, and obviously those subscribes. We're going to be going into a season of many decent heavyweight fights, all of which will be showcased on the channel, as well as a number of other fights that I've hand selected from other weight classes, which I'm really looking forward to. So remember to check them out over the next week or so. Daniel Dubois versus Nathan Gorman. This takes place on the 13th of June 2019. It's at the O2 Arena in London, and it's actually for the vacant British title, which I believe was last held by Hughie Fury. It's scheduled for 12 rounds and is headlining the event. Now, this is a really interesting fight because it brings together two unbeaten young British heavyweights who are looking to step up maybe to the next level, just outside of the British level, okay, and further their career. You know, two unbeaten prospects headlining a card. It happens every now and again. We've seen, you know, some smaller ones happen last year or the year before, Chamberlain and Akoli. But, you know, a few years ago, we saw DeGale and Groves. You know, those guys, they both went on to have fantastic careers. So it doesn't necessarily mean the end for the loser at this level, even though it is quite early for, you know, unbeaten prospects to come together. But let's actually talk about the fighters, what they've got to offer, how we think this fight could mesh, and end it with the old prediction. So let's start with Daniel Dubois. 11-0 with 10 stoppages, 6'5" and 240 pounds. He is a bit of a specimen, and you know there are the obvious comparisons to Anthony Joshua in terms of physique, because he is another specimen. He's I would say not as, you know, muscular as AJ. I think AJ, when you look at particularly that stomach, you know, it's just ridiculous. You know, whether it is a hindrance to him, that's up for debate. But we're talking about Daniel Dubois, and he's just a massive lad. You know, a ridiculous natural attributes. And the fact is, he is just 21 years of age. Turned pro about 2 years ago. So he turned pro when he was a teenager. You know, he has some reasonable amateur junior experience, but of course, next to nothing at the adult level. He was expected to compete for a place in the next Olympics, which is coming next year, but presumably he was swayed by the money on offer to turn pro. As a pro, he has faced fairly poor opposition in his 11 fights, apart from Kevin Johnson, who took him the distance. In his last outing, he fought Larty, again, someone who, you know, not necessarily a decent opposition, you know, someone who has lost their fights outside of their home country, which of course the fight against Dubois was here in the UK. So that was another defeat for Larty. He previously stopped Pacquiao, who is fairly poor in my opinion. I don't rate him, despite the fact that he bizarrely went the distance with Joe Parker, which I've often said that, you know, I think there's something fishy about that fight. You know, he was Joe Parker's sparring partner, and then they went the distance. You know, I don't think it was a competitive fight that was ever going to go in the favour of Pacquiao. But anyway, Dubois has limitations. You know, I think we can all accept that. But that doesn't mean that, you know, that he's ineffective or that he cannot actually be super successful. He moves forward. You know, he has this laser-focused look on him. that just is locked on to his opponent. There aren't many feints, so he is fairly predictable in what he does, in terms of the shots that he throws and the way that he moves. But he's got a really good stiff jab. He shows good composure. He waits for the opportunities where he can unleash high shot combinations. And of course, what we've seen so far is that he packs a lot of power. He hasn't fought, super talented opponents, but what he's shown is that he's been able to put the vast majority of them out, with relative ease. And we have to remember that he is young and he is inexperienced, so he is learning. So he really does need he needs fights. He needs fighters that are going to give him rounds. He fought Kevin Johnson, got taken the distance, and he was criticised. And I have to say, I think that's ridiculous. Why would he be criticised? Kevin Johnson is a tricky opponent. This is a guy who has taken Vitaly Klitschko, Tyson Fury, Kubrat Pulev, Ruiz Jr., amongst others, the distance, and not really look like he was going to get stopped. These are all great boxers, fantastic boxers, highly skilled boxers, some with phenomenal power. He took them the distance, so there's no shame in Dubois getting taken the distance, getting valuable rounds that he so desperately needed. Okay, so then we go to the other side of the ring, and we're talking about Nathan Gorman. Now he is 16-0, and he actually has 11 stoppages. He's 6'4" and 240 pounds. So on paper, not much in it. But not so much the body beautiful with Nathan Gorman. But as we've learned, over the years, that doesn't necessarily make a difference as long as it isn't too bad. I think he's probably he's not too bad. Some people would say that he could probably shade a few pounds off of that 250 frame, but it's not too bad for him. Again, young guy, I think he's 23 years old, and he's got fairly limited amateur experience from what I can tell. 3 and a bit years as a pro, so slightly longer than Dubois, but again, generally low opposition in the pro ranks. He also has wins over Kevin Johnson and Kajanu in recent times. But Gorman has a totally different style to Dubois. He's light on his feet, more fluid and looser movement, changes levels, does have decent timing, but he waits for opportunities. But sometimes he takes risks. And what I would say is, from the fights he's had to date, does seem to lack power, despite the fact that he's got those 11 stoppages. Out of the 16, it would appear to me that he does lack power. As I say, in recent times, both Dubois and Nathan Gorman have fought Kajanu and Kevin Johnson. Both were taken the distance by Kevin Johnson. As we said, he's Kevin Johnson, a fantastic defensive fighter who really, in this stage of his career particularly, he's just looking to last, and he's looking to give these guys, as many rounds as possible. They're not really competitive fighters at all. But, it's an interesting question that these young guys have to answer. Whereas Gorman was also taking the distance in a very sparring-like contest against Kajanu. Dubois dropped him in a devastating fashion and finished the fight. The more that I think about this fight, Daniel Dubois, Nathan Gorman, the more I think that the deciding factor has to be Nathan Gorman's chin. It's definitely true that if Gorman fights clever, he could time Dubois and work out how predictable he is, then using good movement, pick him off. We said that Daniel Dubois, very predictable, not really much feints going on, so a clever boxer could work that out and outbox him. So it's definitely true that Gorman could do that, But this is the key, right? This is the key that I think. Gorman has fought no one to date with concussive power. No one. Yeah, no one who truly came to win, and no one who can aggressively put the pressure on when it's required to finish a fight. Okay, so really, in my point of view, I believe that Nathan Gorman's never been in trouble, so he's never had to really, sustain that kind of pressure against him. He's never really been hurt, and that's a problem. So because of that, we don't know, if he can take a punch. We just don't know it. Okay. And I have to feel that this is really, really important. At this level, personally, my point of view is, whilst going the distance with Kevin Johnson, no problem. Going the distance with Cajano, I think, is a problem. He should have been able to stop him. He didn't try. He didn't look capable of doing so. Okay, so that tells me a fair amount about Gorman. As I kind of just mentioned with Gorman, but it's the same with both. Neither have faced much adversity. They've never been in deep water. They've never been hurt. They've never, had to try something new. They've both gone in with their game plan, and to date it's been successful. So whilst I love a heavyweight boxer who can box and move, and I do see a lot of good stuff from Gorman, in this fight, I think he's going to come up short. So my prediction is Dubois stoppage in the 5th round. Now, it will be interesting to see where the promoters position the winner, whether it's Dubois, whether it's Gorman, whether they fast track them to the next level against, contenders or not, or whether they just fight another person in and around the British level, Joe Joyce also fights on the card. So it's possible that if he wins his fight, then, the winners of these fights come together, or maybe they see that Joe Joyce is significantly ahead of these guys in positioning and can get bigger fights. We don't know. But as I say, in this fight, my prediction is Daniel Dubois stoppage in the 5th round. So thanks for tuning into this video. I really do appreciate it. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Jump down to the comment section. Let me know who you're predicting by typing in the name of Daniel Dubois or Nathan Gorman. And let me know whether you agree with my prediction. And also hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you'll be notified as and when new videos drop on the channel. We'll see you soon for the next boxing prediction.